Hi, folks. So tell me, what do you think rape, child abuse, murder, Florida, and camping have in common? If you said a weekend out with your in-laws, you're incorrect. That's right. We're talking about the Gainesville murders. I think you got 20 minutes for this. Ish. I'm John.
And I'm Kat.
And this is Cast to Gast. So is this going to take us 20 minutes or is this going to be a longer one?
No, I don't think so.
20 minutes to sum up the ends of people's lives. And the concept for a 6-film slasher franchise.
Yes.
Which one is that? That's Nightmare?
Yes, that was I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. Was that the one with Jennifer Love Shit It? Hewitt?
Yes, Hewitt. Shit it. Okay.
Jennifer Love sucks at my job?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're not here to shit on her career. No, it's the Scream.
Yes.
These are the murders that inspired Scream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a few other things inspired Scream, but this is what Wikipedia told us.
And we are drinking a Bloody Caesar in theme of this.
Yeah, a couple Caesar Romanos.
Okay, Caesar Milans.
Caesar Milan, I don't know.
Caesar Romanos.
Okay, let's just get into the goddamn thing.
Okay, the
right.
Gainesville Ripper was born Daniel Harold Rawling on May 26, 1954, to parents James and Claudia Rawling in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh no, people from Louisiana.
I know. Nothing good comes out of that.
Yeah, the Gainesville Ripper and Britney Spears.
Yeah. Is Britney Spears from Louisiana?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bayou La Battery. I don't know. I'm sure she's from Louisiana.
Are you still her?
By the way, we're gonna try not to make jokes about the victims, but we absolutely are going to make
fun of the places
the places they come from, and we're gonna make fun of this son of a bitch, Daniel Harold Rawling.
Oh, Rawling. Yes.
Rawling.
Yeah, my mispronunciation.
Fucking people with like 3 names.
I know.
Hey, like, what is it? The guy who killed Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
And then who killed Abraham? John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, fuck off.
Okay. His father, James, was a police officer in Shreveport. And I think it's pretty safe to say that he didn't receive any World's Greatest Dad mug or awards.
Why do you say that?
He was pretty shitty.
Do tell.
He was a pretty shitty person. And was very abusive.
Like shitty as in like he didn't go to his son's like soccer games or...
Well, if you listen, I'll tell you.
All right.
Yes. He was abusive to his mother, to Danny's mother, Claudia, and Danny's younger brother, Kevin.
Like, what do you mean abusive?
Well, I'll get there.
Jumping the gun. It's going to be like this for 20 minutes, folks.
Well, we won't make it. We'll make it past 20 minutes if you keep interrupting.
All right, I'm sorry.
It was said that his father would always tell Danny that he was unwanted and said these things to him since birth.
The kid doesn't even understand English yet. He's just like looking over a bassinet. I don't want you.
Oh my god.
You fucker.
AllThat'sInteresting.com reported that Danny was abused for the first time by his father at the age of 1 for not crawling properly.
He was like going sideways like a little crab or something.
Oh, that's sad though. There was also an incident claimed by Claudia, Danny's mother, that led her to the hospital. She was claiming that James tried to force her to cut herself with a razor blade. His father was a Korean War veteran, and there has been discussion that he could be suffering from PTSD, a mental illness, or a combination of the two.
Yeah, a little bit of door number 1 and door number 2.
No way an excuse for him, but something I still thought was worth mentioning.
Did she ever try to leave this fucking psychopath?
I did read.
He sounds like Ralph Cramden on rage roids,
times 100. I did read when researching the story that Claudia did make several attempts to leave. But like many women, she returned a short time later.
Stupid.
It's bad, it's
Battered wife syndrome.
battered wife syndrome. They could be threatened or...
That sucks.
Yeah. Danny has said that he developed multiple personalities when he was younger to help him cope due to the terrible atmosphere of his home life. According to Claudia's accounts, Danny suffered physical abuse from his father at least once or twice a week, but the verbal abuse was a daily occurrence. The Cinemaholic reported in an article that the children were never allowed to celebrate holidays or birthdays.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck off. Not even Thanksgiving?
Not even Thanksgiving.
That's not patriotic.
There was a time that Danny owned a dog that he was very attached to, but his father allegedly beat the dog so often that he eventually died and in Danny's arms.
That right there, I think this is when the entire audience, some people were like, oh, he had PTSD. He was a shitty... Right there, you kill a dog, fuck you.
Absolutely, I agree. And it makes you think about nature versus nurture. Like, if Danny was born in a healthy home, would he have grown up to be a serial killer?
Based on the evidence you've provided, I would say maybe.
Well, some people believe that they're just born bad, but it makes you wonder if he was born in a loving home and wasn't subjected to this kind of mental and physical abuse, if he would have turned out differently.
But it doesn't seem like it. There's always some fucked up home life with all these killers. Mm-hmm. I feel like...
Or a mother complex.
Yeah, behind every fucking psychopath, there's a crazy mother.
Yeah, or an overbearing or whatever.
Yeah.
So Danny's school reported that he was known to have aggression issues, poor impulse control, and an inferiority complex.
Oh, geez, sounds like me in grade 7. Plus acne.
Danny had a love for music and would use it as his coping mechanism. He did receive a gift from his parents, a guitar, and has been noted saying that was one of his fondest memories from childhood. Probably his only fond memory from childhood.
It's like just him just playing on the river.
Well, he did.
Boom, boom.
He did play church hymns and hymn-like songs. So
is that not a church hymn?
I don't know. I didn't go to church.
He's just like fucking kumbaya.
Around the age of 11, Danny's mother was committed to a hospital after slitting her wrists. And this obviously impacted Danny greatly, and he began drinking and using drugs.
At 11? Oh, so he was a late bloomer in Louisiana.
At 14, he was caught peeping in the daughter's room of his neighbor, and he was beat viciously for that by his father. At 15 years old, he survived a suicide attempt by cutting his wrists, the same way he witnessed his mother doing 4 years earlier.
So he didn't improve the technique.
He left a suicide note on the mirror and lipstick, and it said, "I tried, I just can't make it." Which for me, despite what an awful human being he is, that is a bit sad, to hear.
And that he didn't, the family didn't have stationery for him to fucking write on.
Yeah.
A proper suicide note. Had to do it in lipstick.
At 17, Danny dropped out of high school and enlisted in the Air Force. Even though he did excel with his coursework, he was eventually discharged for his drinking and drug use.
Nice.
After being discharged and returned to Shreveport, he's now 19 years old and started attending a Pentecostal church, which is where he met his wife, O'Mather Halco.
What the fuck? Fucking name is that? That's incredible.
That's a very interesting.
O'Mather.
Yeah.
She's like a fucking character in what's that show called? Was it Oscar and Company or something?
Oh yeah.
The Aristocats.
The Aristocats, yeah. They married in 1974 and had a daughter a year later.
Well, look at them.
This marriage only lasted 3 years, though, and O'Mather filed for divorce in 1977. It shouldn't be surprising to say that he didn't take the divorce well. He went on a spree of armed robberies, and he eventually got caught in 1985 after robbing a store in Mississippi.
So they got divorced in 1997, and he just 1977, and then spends the next 8 years just going on armed robbery sprees. Like, talk about not being able to get over something.
Well, he did serve 3 years out of a 15-year sentence for that robbery that he was arrested for in Mississippi. So he wasn't out
the entire time.
Which is really shitty, because if they kept him in jail for that 15-year sentence, everyone would be alive.
The butterfly effect.
Everyone would be alive. We wouldn't be... Who knows? He could have eventually ended up murdering someone, but everybody we're talking about in this story today would be alive.
Oh, shit.
So it's heartbreaking.
Keep him in the bars.
In 89, Danny committed his first murder.
Nice.
So the triple homicide of the Grissom family. 55-year-old Tom Grissom, his 8-year-old grandson Sean, and Tom's daughter Julie, who was 24. She was Sean's aunt.
Jesus. Tom
and Sean were both repeatedly stabbed, and Julie was slashed and mutilated.
Oh, what do you mean mutilated?
I didn't find the details on her mutilation. I believe she was sodomized as well. He did pose her in a provocative position, which you'll learn is his shtick. She was also found with bite marks on her, which they were covering her body. I couldn't find out if they happened before he killed her or post-mortem. But still, horrific either way.
Yeah, shit.
In May of 1990, Danny shot his father twice after an argument about leaving a car window down. His father did survive the attack, but suffered the loss of an eye and an ear.
So no more Father's Day gifts.
Yeah, I don't think so, yeah.
Fair enough.
Danny fled by bus to Florida, fearing...
Fleeing by bus is like the most calm way to flee. Next to taking a taxi.
That's true.
Running to Florida.
Or driving. Racing.
I'm going to take the bus. I'll take the Greyhound. I'll go economy. Fucking goddamn it.
What's that one? The Coach Canada or whatever?
Yeah. This is like planes, trains, and automobiles all of a sudden.
So he did flee by bus to Florida, fearing he would be arrested for assaulting his father.
Oh,
and he assumed the identity of Michael Kennedy Jr. That's the identity of a home he broke into years prior.
Oh.
Okay, so August 24th, 1990. Danny broke into the apartment of Sonia Larson, 18 years old, and Christine Powell, 17. Both college... Christina Powell, thank you. Both college students. Christina Powell was asleep on the couch, and Sonia Larson was upstairs sleeping. Danny bypassed Christina Powell at first and then headed upstairs where Larson was sleeping. He taped her mouth shut and raped her.
No, fuck.
And then stabbed her to death. He then went back downstairs to Powell, also taping her mouth shut. He raped her and then forced her down on her stomach, and he stabbed her 5 times in the back. He mutilated her by cutting off her nipples.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. He posed both Sonia and Christina in provocative positions. Larson was found naked, lying on her back with her feet on the floor, and her hair was fanned out around her.
Fuck.
Sonia Larson, she was described as sweet and reserved and liked to work with children. She was active in her family's church where she sang in the choir and worked at the church's daycare center during the summers. Christina Powell was said to be very excited to be moving to this next phase of her life. Larson and Powell met in the summer and decided to live off campus together as college roommates. After 2 days of not being able to reach Christina, her parents traveled to Gainesville and had the apartment opened by management, where the bodies of Sonia and Christina were finally discovered. So that's horrific that her parents discovered her like that. Jesus. And again, if his ass was just in jail, they'd be alive.
2 days. Like, they got on top of that pretty quick.
It obviously was out of character for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there truly ain't no rest for the wicked, because the very next day, on August 25th, Danny broke into the apartment of Krista Hoyt. She was 18 years old. Hoyt was not at home at the time of the break-in, so he waited for her to come home, which she finally did at 11 a.m.
Wow, is he patient?
Danny approached her by surprise from behind and subdued her with a chokehold. Like Larson and Powell, he taped Hoyt's mouth shut, bound her wrists. He then took her to the bedroom, cut all her clothes off, I'm assuming with his knife, but I couldn't find any more details on that, and raped her. Afterwards, he forced her face down and stabbed her in the back, rupturing her heart.
Jesus Christ.
I do believe they determined that was the first stab. Like, it was the first stab that ruptured her heart and killed her.
And then he just had fun.
Yeah.
Fucker asshole.
He left the scene and returned to a campsite he had in the woods, which he was known for doing. It was there that he realized he didn't have his wallet.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
I always leave something behind.
So he did go back to Hoyt's house thinking it was lost there. But while there, I don't know if he retrieved the wallet. But while there, he decided to decapitate her.
Oh, so he was pissed off, I guess.
So removing her head, he then sat it on the shelf facing Christina's body.
Oh my God.
Who was now headless and was posed in a sitting position with her feet on the floor and her torso was slumped forward, like slumped over. He was said to do this to add shock to whoever found her.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
So Christina was described as very likable with a nice personality. Her school secretary said she always had a smile for you. And her stepmother called her a warm and loving person, but was timid and afraid to be out on her own. So that's very sad, which I can relate to, but it's just very sad to already have that fear, and then that's how you die.
It seems like always like the victims of these killers, they all sound the same. Mm-hmm. They're all like, churchgoers, very nice people. It's like, it's such a fucking shame that these pieces of garbage.
I know.
Why can't they prey on each other?
Yeah, I know.
For fuck's sake.
That's a fair point, yeah. With the discovery of Larson, Powell, and Hoyt, there was major media attention, and college students started taking precautions. They started grouping together, went out and sleeping, and they changed up their daily routines.
Smart.
Yeah. Some students even withdrew their enrollment or transferred to other schools.
Oh yeah, I'd get the fuck out of there.
Which I would have been doing, absolutely.
Like, fuck this. What university was this?
I will have to include that in the show notes. I didn't put down...
college students. What colleges are in Gainesville?
I'll put them in the show notes.
Okay.
Or list them at the end.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting a Harvard degree.
Yeah.
Let's get the fuck out before we get killed.
I agree. So on August 27th, so he's still going strong. He broke into the apartment of Tracy Pauls. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced.
Apologies if it isn't, if it's Paulay.
Yeah. And roommate Manny Taboda. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering it. Both were 23 years old. He broke in by prying open the sliding glass door, like he did in his previous break-ins. Manny was sleeping, but woke up at some point and a scuffle did take place. He did try fighting off Daniel, but eventually was stabbed to death after the struggle. Tracy heard the commotion and went into Manny's room where she found Rawlings. She took off to her bedroom and tried barricading herself in there, but eventually he did break through. And he taped her mouth shut, bound her wrists, and cut her clothes off like he did previously. And he raped her and then turned her over and stabbed her 3 times in the back. She was also posed, but he left Manny in the same position he died in, which I found interesting.
Oh, so he's not entertained as much by mail.
By the mail. And I don't think he was maybe even expecting a male to be there. He was probably assuming it was going to be 2 female roommates again. Tracy was found with soap residue on her body. So maybe like his first murder, Julie Grissom, he washed her as well.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Manny and Tracy were close high school friends. Manny had a dream of becoming an architect, and Tracy was hoping to be a lawyer. I'm curious to know, too, why he turned them face down before stabbing them. It has been said that he murdered women that resembled his ex-wife, O'Mather.
Oh, really?
So I'm wondering, did he not want to see their face? Did he not want them looking at him?
Yeah.
Was he ashamed? Was there like a level of shame there? I don't know.
He would rape them facing them
Yeah.
and then flip them over. So like he clearly didn't even think rape was that big of a deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he might be onto something with the ex-wife connection.
So obviously shit was hitting the fan. There was a lot of concerned parents and a lot of students leaving the city.
No shit.
The police quickly knew these cases were linked because there was so many similarities. The method of break and entry, the killings, the posing. And despite Manny Tabota, all victims were Caucasian brunettes with brown eyes.
At this point, did they have like... Because he's raping them. Like, he's not wearing a condom.
Yep, they had... So...
They can all tell it's the same dude.
We will get to that.
Oh, fuck, again with... I'm just...
You're so eager.
Just get to the conclusion!
So they were all Caucasian brunettes with brown eyes. So there was that similarity as well. 2 suspects were named. One was a University of Florida student. I'm going to choose to leave his name out. He has been cleared, and to me, he's a victim himself with this story. It's easy enough for people to find. I mean, it's a one Google search, but so you can do that on your own time. But I'm just going to leave it out here. This suspect, quote, he did have a history of mental illness, and based off of his appearance, he did have quite a few scars on his face from a car accident. If you look at the photos, they plastered all over the media of him. I did send them to you if you want to have a look at them.
All right, let's take a look.
To me, it's clear what kind of narrative they were trying to create just based off of his appearance. So there was no evidence linking him, but just...
Oh, jeez. You know, his hair, though, is well coiffed.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time with that hair.
Yeah, he really was.
But yeah,
I can see what they were trying to do. It is
clear what they were trying to do.
We got this guy who looks like someone who'd be like, oh, that's a killer.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and you...
Assholes.
So thankfully, both suspects were completely cleared. The Louisiana police reached out to Florida authorities, notifying them of the unsolved Grissom triple murder, because that happened in Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
They immediately noted the similarities between the Shreveport Grissom murders and the Gainesville slayings. An investigator with the Florida law enforcement, Don Maines, which is like a spectacular name for an investigator. Don Maines.
Yeah. This is pretty interesting that like the Louisiana police actually reached out.
Yeah.
Like they heard about what the fuck was going on and reached out.
Yeah,
like,
saying there's similarities.
Doesn't it seem like, and I could be completely fucking wrong, but it always seems like the way they portray the police in media in different states and different counties, they don't fucking talk to each other. Right.
Yeah, there's definitely, and it's almost like a taboo to talk to other police, states and counties. But yeah, thankfully,
good on them.
Yeah, and thankfully the police were on it. Like they were on it from beginning to end with this case. They did not waste any time. So Don Maines traveled to Shreveport, and the similarities, including posing the victims, the tape residue, and vinegar to clean the bodies. He noted all of those. Shortly after his trip to Louisiana, Crime Stoppers received a phone call from a Cindy Juricic.
Oh, Jesus. We're sorry, Cindy.
Great first case to cover where I butcher every single name.
Juricic.
We'll call her Cindy.
Yes.
So
Cindy J.
Cindy, she was a Shreveport resident. She claimed that Danny Rawlings may be connected to the Grissom murders and the Gainesville murders. She met Danny at her church in Louisiana, and Danny would come over to her and her then husband Stephen's home frequently, every night for a while. And one night, Cindy's husband came in and just said, he's got to go. And she was confused and asked why, what's going on. And Rawlings apparently confessed to Stephen that he, quote, has a problem.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
And when Stephen asked him, well, what kind of problem, Rawlings said that he likes to stick knives into people.
So it was just casual conversation.
Yeah.
He had a few gin and tonics, and it's like, you know what, Stephen? We're two guys. We're alike, right? Like, we both shave like about twice a week.
We're just shooting the breeze.
Yeah, we're like, they're like on top of a fucking Studebaker, like on the hood of it, looking up at the stars.
Yep. In the garage,
in the
like
garage.
2 men.
Sharing a couple of buds.
Yeah.
You know, Steve, there's all this glory and all those stars in the cosmic abyss, and
I like to stick knives into people.
Yeah, and I trust you with this information. This is normal things to share with people.
Yeah.
And like Steve is like, I fart in bed sometimes, and
leave the toilet seat up.
Yeah, and I don't rinse the sink out when I do the dishes, so I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, I can see how you can think there's a connection between us. You know, it's strong.
Anyways, so
I went too far with that.
So at first she dismissed these comments, which I found interesting. I don't think I would have dismissed those. She just thought that he wasn't capable of doing something like that. But regardless, I don't think I would have dismissed it.
How charming can you possibly be?
To dismiss a statement like that.
He was probably joking. No, he didn't even blink when he told me.
But she did decide to contact the police in November.
This guy's like speech level is like fucking off the charts.
Yeah.
He's put all the perks into his speech.
Yeah.
His speech tree.
So, Rawlings was already being held in Marion County jail, 40 miles from Gainesville, after being arrested September 7th for a supermarket robbery.
Oh. He needs some bread.
Thank goodness, though.
Why don't you just fucking break into someone's house and go and raid their refrigerator? Like, what did he need to steal from a fucking supermarket? I'm at a Chef Boyardee, and I can't have an empty stomach before killing someone.
I'm gonna say it was cash, but...
From a fucking supermarket? Like, take a bank out.
So they already knew that the killer had type B blood. So this is to note what you were saying earlier. They knew this because they were able to test the semen that was left at the crime scenes. And apparently you can tell, I didn't know this, but apparently you can tell what type of blood a person has from their semen.
Really?
So after testing Rawlings, what do you think they discovered?
Oh, shit. A fucking fruit basket?
Type B blood.
Wow. Isn't type B blood, like, isn't that pretty rare in North America? Like, isn't type B, like, more, like, in Asia?
I'm not sure. So among that, they also reviewed the evidence from his robbery arrest. There was a gun, a screwdriver, a bag of dyed money, and a cassette player. On the tape were recordings of a man talking and singing. Mystery Rider, what is your name? You're a killer, a drifter, gone insane. More recordings about his family, how he went down the quote-unquote wrong road. And then eventually the man's voice on the recordings say, Danny Harold Rawling. Bingo.
No kidding.
So in November of 1991, Daniel Harold Rawling was charged with several counts of murder and was brought to trial nearly 4 years later. He claimed his motives were to become a superstar in the likes of Ted Bundy.
Jeez, man, this guy had inspiration.
In 1994, before the trial got underway, Rawlings unexpectedly pled guilty to all charges. On April 20th, 1994, he was sentenced to death.
Good. Fucking piece of shit.
So shortly before his execution, he did confess to the Grissom murders. His last meal was lobster tail.
Oh, his last meal?
I hate that. You know, we discussed this earlier about our point of view on the death penalty. I rather the person rot in jail And with too many wrongful convictions and innocent people in jail, I don't think the death penalty. I know we differ in that, but if you're going to have the death penalty and it's like a known criminal who like confessed, and I don't know why we're giving them lobster tail or
my taxpayer
surf
dollars,
and turf.
I would be so pissed off, like, if my taxpayer dollars paid for this guy to have, like, a meal that I get, like, maybe once a year if I'm lucky.
Just imagine the parents. So the parents of these victims who they don't get to sit and eat a lobster tail or a steak. No, they don't even get to eat ever again. But he gets to sit and enjoy whatever the hell he wanted. And in this case, it was lobster tail.
No, they should have fed him a dog shit and a mouth raping. Fucking asshole. Oh, I'm serious. This guy's a piece of fucking garbage. Give him lobster. Let's give this piece of shit lobster tail.
So,
fuck's sakes.
What is a mouth raping?
It's exactly. Here's some shit. Here's some shit, and here's this guy named Butch Butchington, who's got like a chin about a meter long, and he's gonna fucking give you dessert. cream of wheat, because he's a farm boy.
Oh my gosh. And he also, after the lobster tail, sang a gospel hymn.
Oh, what a piece of fucking garbage.
He was executed by lethal injection in Florida State Prison on October 25th, 2006. So he did spend quite a bit of time on death row, considering he was sentenced to death in 1994. And
that's another thing I don't fucking understand. All right, like, he's going to die.
I think it's because they have rights to appeal, and so I think you have to exhaust those. I don't know. I could be wrong.
You're probably right. I don't fucking know. I just think, like, all right, we're going to get rid of them. Why waste more taxpayer dollars?
Especially when they're so overpopulated prisons.
Yeah. Just get rid of them.
He made no statement, and the execution was witnessed by the relatives of his victims. And that is the story of the Gainesville murders that happened in 1990.
Wow.
And that inspired the Scream franchise. And
Jesus.
With the new one coming out, appropriate timing.
So, like, why do they say this inspired Scream? Did Scream, was that set in Florida?
I believe it was, wasn't it Gainesboro?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Gainesboro. I don't know. Yeah, because he didn't have, other than the knife,
he wasn't dressed up like anything.
And the stabbings. He wasn't dressing up. He wasn't posing as a character. He wasn't wearing a costume. I think that it was just the concept of someone preying on college students. I think that was the only inspiration there.
Well, who else are you going to really prey on? You know, you can't get that much fun preying on the elderly, I
What
assume.
were you like in college? Or in university?
No one preyed on me. So
I think when we post the pictures of the victims and Danny and we should also include a picture of you in university.
No, I don't think so. These poor buggers, though. That's so unfortunate for them, the victims.
It just goes right back to that very first arrest for the robbery in Mississippi. If he just stayed his 15 years, even if he stayed served 12 out of 15 years, they'd be alive. Because I believe it was 79 that he got sentenced.
Yeah.
So that would have been 15 years from 1979. So they were murdered in 1990. So even if he served 12 years and still got out early.
Do you have a picture of what this jackass looks like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are going to post it on our social media, but I do have a family portrait of his wonderful father, James. His mother did also testify.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. Yeah, of course, the father is one of those fucking hard-ass types who doesn't smile in family portraits.
Yeah.
Like, can you crack a smile? I know you went to Korea, but fucking goddamn.
His mother did do an interview, a televised interview as well, talking about Daniel, and you can hear the father yelling in the background to shut it down. So
you caused this, you stupid old fuck.
I don't know if they're still alive today, but at that time they were still together, which is
Jesus.
Horrific. But.
That is horrific.
So that is the Gainesville murders. That was our first episode, which I think went pretty well.
Well, we'll see with the viewership.
Yeah. Oh, it will only get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Scream.
Yeah.
That is the inspiration of Scream. You know what I always laugh at in Scream is just him running. When you see the killer and him running, because he's got like a fucking robe on.
Yeah.
Like he looks ridiculous. Like this is not the outfit for killing. It looks ridiculous. It looks.
And he always runs like with his arms out a little bit.
And like the fabric looks like the kind of fabric you would get at a costume store.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's like that. It's like wafer thin polyester weave.
Completely see through.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't.
And it
you
has,
can't be warm in it or anything.
Do you ever realize, or is this just me, that costumes have like strange smells to them? Like the fabric. No, like when it comes out of the package, it's always an off smell.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
Yeah, it does smell a little bit weird.
Yeah. All right. This is A Cast Aghast.
Thanks, everyone.
We will see you next time.
All right. Bye.
You can check us out on YouTube at Catam Concoction.
That's CATAMCONCOCTION.
And on Instagram at cast_aghast.
Remember, there's a silent H.